Welcome to West Valley College Fashion Design Department's presentation on marker making and cutting. My name is Tina Keller, and this presentation focuses on production, marker making, and production cutting. Certain things need to be ready for the proper assembly of the garment. And certain things that happen in the cutting room are necessary prerequisites. In order to have a proper garment, cutting is crucial because fabric is the most expensive individual single item in any garment. So in cutting room, the fabric is stored and received, and then comes the marker making and spreading the fabric on the cutting table, and then the actual cutting, either sample cutting or the production cutting. After cutting, there are the positions to be marked, like notches and drill holes, and the last thing is bundling. Bundling means putting certain sizes, certain colors, garment units together, ready for garment assembly, for the sewing. And each bundle needs to be identified with the ticket, and that procedure is called the ticketing. Marker is based on a document called cutting order, which is a record of styles and sizes, quantities, and all necessary information. Components of a cutting order is order number, first of all, date of order, fabric to be cut, style numbers, quantities of sizes and the sizes, variety of colors, date of completion, special requirements, fabric swatches, and cutter's remarks. Size ratio shows, first of all, how many total pieces are required. These are the quantities. Size 8 has been ordered 100 pieces, size 10 ordered 200 pieces, size 12 has been ordered 200 pieces, and size 14 another 100 pieces. So total pieces ordered, total units to be cut is 200 plus 200 plus 100 plus 100. Altogether 600 pieces. You cannot mark all 600 pieces on a marker, so you need a size ratio. That means how many of each size is going to be marked on the marker paper, and how many fabric layers, plies, you need to include. So this is a suggestion of one size ratio. Size 8 is marked 1, size 10, 2, size 12, 2, and size 14 is 1. So total units marked on the marker paper is 6. And that means then you have to have 100 plies of fabric, 100 layers of fabric. Another possibility to mark is 2 of size 8, 4 of size 10, 4 of size 12, and 2 of size 14. And then you need 50 plies. In this presentation, we are going to make a marker and cut this sweatshirt. And first of all, you need to check your patterns. And here we have 2 sizes. One is medium, and the other size is extra large. Now, this style contains 2 different fabrications. It has rib knit, which is cut from contrast, marked, labeled with blue ink. Those we need to separate because it is a separate fabrication. So all pattern pieces that have blue label we need to remove from the stack. That means the rib knits, cuffs, and hemband from both medium and the extra large. Second step is you need to look at the crane lines. Always place the pattern pieces so that the crane line is parallel to selvage. The marker paper needs to be exactly the width of the usable fabric, and that means you remove about 2 inches from each end of the fabric, because those are the selvages and they should not be included in the marker. Okay, first step, you start with the straight line. And this is the beginning of the marker. And to mark each pattern piece, take the largest piece, approximate position first. And mind the crane lines. Make sure all the crane lines are parallel to selvage. And then when you know approximately how much fabric it will take, then place the pattern pieces very close to each other. They can be edge to edge, butting, but not overlapping. Find the best possible position for all the pattern pieces. Usually the best way is to mark one size at a time, and then the next, and then the next. But you often find out that it is easier to save fabric if you mix sizes, meaning taking some of the other size patterns and include them with the other size. That is often the most economical way. But it implies that all the pieces are very carefully identified. Okay, and then when approximate position has been found out, then start marking from the beginning. Each pattern piece, draw the outline on the marker paper. Yeah. Make sure all the crane lines are parallel to selvage, and pattern pieces are not overlapped, but they can be edge-to-edge butting. Try to make as tight marker as possible. Okay, once we have approximate position for each pattern piece on the marker paper, we can start drawing the outline of each piece to the marker. When you mark, or keep a weight on the pattern piece so that it does not slip. That will help. Okay, when all the pieces have been marked, make sure the drill holes are marked and circled, and label. This is the front and 1. We have 2 fronts, 1 and 2, and it is medium. Here's a pocket, and this is medium, pocket 1. Hood 1 and medium, hood 2 medium, and pocket 2 medium, and drill holes for front, circle, and front 2 medium. Sleeve, yes. Then we can remove the pattern pieces when the labels have been written. Drill hole. Then we finish the marker at the end of, again, 90-degree angle at the end of the last pattern piece marked. Draw a straight line indicating that this is the length of the marker, and we need to measure the length or measure the marker. And this one is how many yards? 36. 36. So the length of this marker is 2 yards and 20 inches. So for 1 unit, the length needed, the fabric needed is yard and 10 inches. So now that our marker is ready, we need to have other paper underneath the stack of fabrics that is often heavier or brown like butcher paper, but this one can do as well as the second layer underneath. It's the underlaying paper. And that needs to be exactly the same length as your marker, indicating the length we need for each fabric layer. And the marker will be folded and put aside for a while. And next step is spreading the fabric. Okay. This is a manual spreading machine, and the fabric layer, fabric bale is on top of it, and then underneath and on top. And then from this we spread out the first layer. Make sure one side is exactly matching with the paper, and whatever is away there has to stay outside. So this is the width of the fabric as it is. Very, very smooth. It all has to be very smooth without any bubbles or wrinkles underneath. And here's one. Can start cutting from that end. You can see the outline underneath. Okay, and then the third layer. Right, good. And all we got to do is to place the marker on top of the fabric plies. Before you start cutting, make sure all the necessary pattern pieces have been marked. The best way to check that is to count how many pattern pieces does your sample require. Remember 2 sleeves, 2 fronts, 2 hood pieces, and 1 back and 2 pockets. Total number for 1 unit is 9. So you have marked 2 units. That should be 18 pieces. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. 18 pieces. So that is correct now. And next step is start cutting and hold pattern pieces or the marker paper on the table with weights. Safety is very important in cutting. While cutting, hold the pattern down with another weight. Also be mindful that you don't accidentally let the cord get near the plate. How many layers do we need actually, and how many layers can we have depends on the plate. You cannot have higher stack than half of the plate of the rotary cutter. Principle of cutting. Usually best way is to start with the smallest pieces, the outline of the smallest pieces. And another principle is to cut it into blocks. Cut it, for example, in 2 large blocks first, and then cutting each individual pattern piece later. So what I'm going to do now is to cut this marker, this stack, into 2 large pieces. When you cut the fabric, make sure the plate, the underlying paper is also included in the stack. Safety is very important, so keep the mesh glove in your left hand if you are right-handed and the right hand operates the machine. Turn the machine on. And these small weights can be used as extra safety measure. Now that the marker has been cut into 2 halves, it's easier to maneuver and move to smaller parts. And then all we can do is just cut each part one at a time. After cutting, you need to mark the notches and drill holes. This jacket has 2 drill holes marking the pocket placement, and take an awl and punch through all fabric layers. There should be a small mark. Then mark the notches. Anywhere where you see a notch on a pattern, with scissors, make it very short, about 1/8 of an inch slice, slit at the edge of the pattern. When the notches and drill holes have been marked, the last step is to bundle. There are 2 ways to bundle, one by unit and one method is by sizes. If you have a smaller production like this one, you can bundle by size. If the production is large, you put certain sizes together. Just make sure no sizes are mixed in the bundles. So remove first, for example, this is medium. So remove the pattern pieces and collect one of each layer. One of each layer. One pattern piece of each layer into one bundle. And tie them together. Here is one. Here's the second. And third. Third bundle. Now all size M have been bundled and they need to be indicated. This is sweatshirt, size medium. And then we tie them together. Anything that's left from the production, you can use strings left from the cutting, these selvage bands. To keep them together, and then here's the label. Now 6 swatches have been cut and now they are ready for assembly. Thank you.